So Tony is from right here in Utah, born and raised, right? He is also the principal broker of his own real estate company. So he really gets what we need as realtors to make it in this business. But on top of that, he is also the head organizer.
I'll take it.
He is the TEDx head organizer for our brand new TEDx franchise, Tip View Drive, which is super exciting. Okay, you're gonna get a chance to holler in a minute, but I'm actually not done. Because there's more, right? So Tony also coaches, trains, and assists people when they're getting ready to step up on that TEDx stage. Who here would either faint, throw up, or do some other embarrassing thing just at the idea of walking onto a TEDx stage? Right? Can you imagine? So when you're putting together your script and you're rehearsing and you're doing all your stuff, Tony Acosta is who comes in and helps you so that your TEDx debut is actually amazing instead of the most, traumatic yet horrific mistake of your professional career, right? Although I heard if you totally bomb on TEDx, they don't publish it, they don't promote it. So maybe you're lucky. Maybe you can bomb it.
They do not.
Or if you don't want to bomb, you work with Tony Acosta. Now but wait, there's more. Okay, so he is also the president of the Utah Podcast Coalition. Who here has or wants to start or has flirted with the idea of having a podcast? Anybody? Okay, we've got quite a few people in the room. So then I will tell you guys, everybody needs to hook up with Tony after. Didn't sound right. And it was all ladies. No, they were.
No judgment.
Yes.
No judgment.
Will it be put on YouTube?
We can never trust you to speak, Celadon. Why does it always go there? And so anybody that's interested in that, make sure that you find out more from him about how you can join the Utah Podcast Coalition. Okay, let's bring Tony up here.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Bella. I appreciate you. Thank you so
welcome.
much. Guys, thank you so much for coming out. I really appreciate you guys being here. I know there's a lot that you could be doing on a Thursday morning, and I am so excited to be here. It's actually my wife's birthday, so I had to negotiate to be here, but we made it, so we're here. We're good. Guys, as she said, my name is Tony Acosta. Just a brief introduction if you don't know who I am. We got a lot to get into today, so I want to be respectful of everybody's time and if this will work for me. So who am I? She mentioned a little bit. TEDx Tip View Drive is a brand new chapter here in Utah. TEDx is already in Utah. We have a Salt Lake City chapter. We have a St. George chapter. We used to have an Ogden chapter, but our goal is to bring it to Utah County. And so we have our first event next Thursday on the 23rd. We have 6 awesome speakers. And we just finished up a course for real estate agents about talking like Ted. And so Bella was in that course. She's one of our graduates. So I know that she has a tremendous group. So we wanted to come here and talk a little bit about what public speaking is all about, what communication skills we can start to try to develop. So as she said, I'm CEO of 1% List Wasatch Front. I started that company in 2022. I'm also a member of the former Forbes Real Estate Council. So I'm an alumni of the Forbes Council. That was a lot of fun. I got to learn a lot by doing that. Top 500 Realtor for the last 6 years. And more recently, we started a digital marketing agency with Ray. She does all of our podcasting, social media production, video, and things like that. So, and as we mentioned, TEDx Tip View Drive, a lot of fun. This is one of my favorite things to do. I just realized my favorite thing to do. And so I'm excited to be here. So if anybody cares about credentials, there you go. But for the rest of us, let's get right into it. Okay, so every class that I give, if you've been in one of my courses, I always have some sort of thesis. I always have some sort of big idea that I want to convey. And so for the next 60 minutes, my goal is twofold. Number one, I want to create a little bit of self-awareness as to your own communication style. How do you speak? What do you say? What are some of your tendencies that can be either for good or for bad? Because when we're in real estate, a lot of us may not necessarily get onto a stage, but you're dealing with people every single day. And not only are you dealing with people every single day, but you are having high stakes conversations. You're talking about a lot of money. You're talking about people moving. You're talking about investments. And so there's a lot of emotion. There's a lot of hope. There's a lot of sometimes nerves for a lot of our clients. And so what I want to convey today is my firm belief that it doesn't matter what you know. It doesn't matter what your marketing strategy is if you do not know how to communicate. It just doesn't matter. It's not going to land. You can have the best product ever, the best programs, you can be the most experienced agent, but if when you're having a conversation with someone, you're awkward, or you don't know how to convey ideas properly, then those people are going to go somewhere else. So that skill of how do I communicate effectively is what we're going to talk about today. And the concept itself of communication is fascinating. At its very core, it's how do I take ideas and thoughts that are in my mind, transmit them to Celeste, and try to create the same thoughts and ideas in her mind. When you can do that, you're infinitely powerful. Because especially in a market like this, people don't know what's going on, SVB Bank, all these different things. There's a lot of uncertainty. So we're supposed to be the experts. But even if we do all of our research, again, if we don't know how to communicate, it's very hard for people to trust us. Once you gain someone's trust, everybody knows this, you've won. That's the whole game. The whole game is gaining somebody's trust. And what we're going to talk about today is a little bit about how you do that. So we're going to break this up in sections. There are three main things. Well, first of all, can I get a reader for the red part?
The most important skill you can learn is effective communication. Everything else is a distant second.
Everything else is a distant second. I love her. Did you see that? She did that. See, she knows what she's doing. I love that. She knows. She knows. I firmly believe that, guys. It is my firm belief. I've been in the real estate industry for 10 years. I started as just a basic showing agent in 2012. In 2017, I became a principal broker. And from that moment on, I started training agents. And when I started, I was training agents on the basics, right? How to prospect or how to calculate an FHA more, whatever it was. But I quickly found out that my agents were not good communicators. They just weren't. And I could teach them the skills, and we'd spend all this time, and I'd say, hey, do whether it was cold calling or doing social media. I'm a big social media guy, so I'd say, hey, make these videos, even back in 2018, make these videos on Facebook. I started making videos on Facebook. And they started to do them, and I realized they were really bad. They're really bad. And so I had to kind of pivot. And before I get you on Facebook, Patty, before I get you on TikTok, I got to teach you how to speak. I got to teach you how to convey ideas. Okay? So our three foundations. When we are out there talking to clients, there are three things that we need to remember. Number one, you need to learn how to listen. And a lot of this is going to be kind of cliche. You've heard this before. I promise we'll get into some of the more juicy stuff. But you have to learn to listen. We are so anxious to talk. We're so anxious to give the answer all the time. And sometimes it's not even our fault because that's the way that we're trained. But you have to sit and be very comfortable in the silence. Learn to ask good questions, whether it's a seller, a buyer, somebody that's just thinking about it. Learn to ask the proper questions and then shut up. Just be quiet. And listen to what they say. Truly listen. And for me, listening is listening to understand, not to find an answer. To me, that is the distinction. Right? Are you listening or are you hearing someone? And this is a big concept. Ken Garff, for example, they've spent millions of dollars trying to convince people that they'll hear you. Billboards, all this stuff. Why? Why would they spend millions of dollars, pay marketing people to do all these things, and they can dress it up 100 different ways? That's the message. Why? Because that's what matters. Because when we go buy a car, we've all had that experience of the pushy salesman. They know that. So they're trying to say, we don't do that, guys. We will hear you. whatever you're looking for, what's your budget, we'll hear you. We as agents, we need to hear people. And it's very difficult to do when your paycheck depends on somebody's closing. That's why it's so important to get these skills so that you can have some business, because it's very stressful if you need to close because you need to pay your mortgage, Mary, but they need an extension or they don't feel comfortable with the payment. And they say, you know what? This is a $400,000 house. I'm going to pay $3,200 a month. I'm renting for $1,900. Does this make sense? And if you need to make that car payment, it better make sense, Britt. It makes perfect sense. It might not. And so sometimes our communication can become clouded because we need money. I get that. But my firm belief is that if we can get good at this, then we'll be able to build enough trust with enough people to eventually get the ball rolling. And if somebody needs an extension, that's okay. Doesn't break the bank, Celeste. You need a couple more weeks, that's okay. Or you know what? I'm not loving the house, I'm having second thoughts, and it's just really not the best deal for them. You know what? No problem. We can cancel, start over, go work. Without getting angry at the client or stressed, because people can feel that. And your communication, even if you try to fake, has anybody ever had that experience when you're having a bad day and you're in the car and you have to go do a showing and you're like, okay, let's go. We've all had that. We've all had that. And so the idea is, how can we learn to communicate effectively? So number 2, observe. Once you pick this up, you'll get very good at observing people. Do they get bored? Are they not engaged? Do they feel nervous when you're doing showings, when you're going over numbers? What's their body language? Because sometimes people can say one thing, but the reality is completely different. I learned this early on. I would go to these showings and everybody loved every house. Like, what do you think of the house? Like, oh, I love it. It's beautiful. But they wouldn't make any offers. And I'm sure as soon as they got in the car, they'd say, that house was awful. It was awful. But everybody was telling me that they loved the house. I was so confused because I didn't know how to observe. I didn't pick up on some of those things. So now, when I go show a home, I can tell right away. You know, Tony, when somebody comes in to get pre-approved or someone, you start asking them about their taxes, you know. You guys know. We got to get very good at observing people so that we can help them in a way that they're going to receive. And number 3, contextualize. This part is key. And I have a couple of videos. I'm going to show you guys really brief examples of things that are extreme, but that we do ourselves in our day-to-day. So the first one is one of my favorite videos of all time. We sometimes, as agents, do this when we talk about real estate.
Also be capable of automatically synchronizing cardinal gram meters. Such an instrument comprised of Dodge gears and bearings, Reliance electric motors, Allen Bradley controls, and all monitored by Rockwell software is Rockwell Automation's retro encabulator. Now basically, the only new principle involved is that instead of power being generated by the relative motion of conductors and fluxes, it's produced by the modial interaction of magneto-reluctance and capacitive directance. The original machine had a base plate of prefabulated amulite surmounted by a malleable logarithmic casing in such a way that the 2 spurving bearings were in a direct line with a panometric fan. The lineup consisted simply of...
I love that, man.
How many words did he make up?
Right? Guys, we do the same thing. We're talking about, hey, you don't qualify because of the DTI of your LTV to your whatever. Don't do that, right? Yes.
I just did this.
You just did this? Oh, no.
Seriously, I look over and I'm like, you look lightheaded.
Yeah.
Reel it back.
We do it all the time. So we need to understand, sure, we're the experts, but you need to contextualize your conversations. You really need to contextualize your conversation. And it's happening a lot right now. Because we get these questions, what's going on in the market? Oh, it's because mortgage-backed securities and the Federal Reserve. Nobody knows what that means. And we think we're being clever. We really do. And sometimes we get people jumping on social media and they talk about MBS, SVB, LT. Don't do that. Okay? Because people don't relate to that. You think you're impressing people. And maybe for a very small percentage, that could be true, that they'll say, oh, I don't need to know what that means, but Roland, I just need to know that he knows. But for most people, they want to understand. That's how you make people feel comfortable. And so be careful with the lingo that you use in your day-to-day. Really think about it. Think about what are the common things. What are your phrases? We're going to talk a little bit about that. What are your words? And start to try to clean that up just a little bit. Okay? Any questions or comments on these three things? Listen, observe, contextualize. I just need to take a little bit of time to set that stage, set that foundation. Any thoughts? We're good? Highly engaged? Look at you guys.
When you say contextualize,
Yes.
you mean like put it in a context that the client understands?
Exactly.
You mean like
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. So if, again, really simple. If you're talking about LTV or DTI, what is the debt to income ratio? What does that mean? It's very different saying, oh, your DTI is just way too high. Sorry, you need a cheaper house. Then going in and explaining it. What is a DTI? Your debts versus your income. So what the bank does is they take a look at both, and they want to make sure that you're actually going to be able to make your payment. So to make sure that you can make your payment, Rolando, they limit us a little bit to how much of your income we can use. So they don't want you to get in financial trouble. See the difference?
So you showed how it related to that.
Exactly.
I was explaining what DTI was, but how it relates.
How does it relate to you? What is a DTI? Instead of, oh yeah, no, we can't make an offer there because your DTI is going to be too high.
Right? What does that mean?
And people are like, okay. Sure. you should go get that check. Go get your DTI check with Jason. He'll do a DTI economy. All right, guys, here we go. We're going to talk about our three vocal foundations. What I want to accomplish here is to really literally install self-awareness. Start thinking about what are your words? What do you say? How do you say it? Because this is where you're going to make your bank, right here. If you can master some of these, I'm bringing the three, in my opinion, the three most critical ones, and I'm going to show you examples of each. But start trying to self-analyze of how you speak. This is something that I talk to all my speakers about. When I'm training TEDx speakers, this is the thing. These three things are probably some of the most important things as they're prepping for their talk. So we're going to go into these three vocal foundations. The first one is rate of speech. You have to be mindful of your rate of speech. Because if I come in here and I say, hey, what's going on, guys? My name's Acosta. I'm here to talk about TEDx If You Drive. How are you doing? It's so great to be here. I'm just ecstatic. This is going to be so much fun. I have this great presentation going on. Whew. It's exhausting. How many of you feel that you speak quickly? Just naturally, you talk fast. Yeah? Why? Have you guys ever asked yourself why? Why do you talk fast? Why is it? Why is it?
I had to get it out before my mother walked away.
You're going fast?
My family don't, like you'll get interrupted constantly, so it's just like you're constantly trying to like, okay, like I gotta get out there before they interrupt me.
That was beautiful. You see that? That was tremendous. You had another hand?
Somewhat afraid of long pauses.
You're afraid of long pauses? That's great self-awareness. What about you, Jason?
I was just gonna say nerves, or you know you're gonna get cut off. If you don't hurry, get on your thought.
Yeah. And that, yes.
You're so excited to say, to tell them, like, hey, look at everything I know. This is what I'm gonna say.
Yeah. And I think that happens a lot. And that's happening a lot right now because we want to be the first ones to talk about SVB. First ones. Right now. Immediately. Let me tell you about this bank. But, and often it happens that it comes from our childhood or it comes because, yeah, we were used to getting cut off. But if your mom cut you off when you were a kid, your client is not your mom. Does that make sense? So sometimes we can take our experience, and we all do this, by the way. Everybody does this. You take your experiences from the past and you ingrain them into your personality so that now you're projecting those onto somebody else. And so there are a couple of keywords. You're excited. That can be when you're nervous. So the way to combat this, what I tell my speakers all the time is, if you feel the need to go too fast, it's probably because you're talking about something that you're not 100% comfortable in. Not always, but you're just not. You're trying to go. I'm nervous. I'm nervous to get a question. So I'm trying to end this. If I know I'm going to speak for 30 seconds, if I can bring that down to 18 seconds, I feel better. I'm speaking less. So be mindful of that. Now, who here feels that they speak really slowly? Anybody here speaking slow? Slow speakers? Okay. Anybody?
Tells me I tell stories too slowly.
She's like, get to the point. Let's go. Let's go. Yes.
It's just a husband thing.
If I say to my brother or my son, oh, did I tell you? They say,
You did. Yes, you did. Speaking slow, both extremes are dangerous. Have anybody of you ever heard the president of Mexico speak? You guys heard? AMLO? They make fun of him. They put him on the news and they fast forward his clips. Like literally, they put it on 2X. Because he speaks so slowly. And he's trying to get his point across.
They need to give him a little of what they give Biden.
So both extremes do not work. And the thing with rate of speech is having both in your arsenal. Sometimes, especially when you're having high stakes conversations, slow it down. Consciously slow it down. Okay. I am of the belief if I had to pick talking too fast or too slow, I'd rather you go a little bit too slow. Just a little bit.
Waiting for you to say the next word.
Little bit. No, you're golden. Because you have to give people an opportunity to process what you're saying. If they're listening to you, which there's no guarantee, even if they're looking at you, that they're listening to you. If they're listening to you, if you have their attention, give them a chance. People are not stupid. People understand when you explain things properly. They can even understand a DTI and an LTV. But you got to give them a chance. Give them an opportunity. So we're going to have a quick example. Nope, number 2, we're going to volume. Volume. When I was a kid, I grew up with these two polar opposites, my mother and my father. My mom is very loud. She yells at everybody. Sometimes with reason, sometimes for no reason. But she's so loud all the time because she has this desire to be seen. She's just loud always. She's always loud. Oh, for no reason. It's exhausting. Versus my father. My father is extremely quiet. He doesn't speak. He doesn't talk. He retreats. Very calm. Completely different. If I got bad grades, I got chewed out by, it was worse of both worlds. I'd get cussed out by my mom, and then my dad would sit down and he'd be like, what's going on? You doing okay? How are we feeling? You getting bullied in school? Everything's all right? So soft. So soft. How are some of your parents? Who here has loud parents?
one of each.
One of each? Okay. Who here has quiet parents?
Just one of each.
Just one of each?
I have 2 very loud parents.
2 very loud parents. This is going fast. This is going fast.
Everything you needed. I'm like, I already we broke down on here. Pump those brakes.
Pump the brakes just a little bit.
I'm loud and I'm a very fast talker.
Yes.
Already I'm like, I'm not a good speaker.
Yeah.
So I need this.
We're going to get you there. We're going to get you there. We're going to get you there. So if we were to put on a spectrum 1 to 10, most people speak at about a 3. This is about where most people speak.
Who are these people?
Yeah, where can we find that? They're not really.
It's because you're Bella's friends. It's because you're her friends. Most people speak about just about here. This is usually where most people feel comfortable, at about a 3. Now, when I'm training speakers, I say, turn it up just a little bit. Turn it up to a 5. That feels awkward for a lot of people. I feel like I'm talking too loud. Right? And your microphone, things like that. So vary your volume. Understand when to talk loud and when to be a little bit more quiet. Now, this is critical in another area of life that I feel communication skills are equally, if not more important in, which is parenting. In parenting, your volume will make or break you. It doesn't matter what you say. Your kids, especially your teenagers, they are so susceptible to volume. This is the one. It's volume. You know, if you raise your voice, you lost them. Or if you're too passive, they're not even listening to you. They're off somewhere else. So developing this skill is critical. I know you're all thinking about your kids right now. That's the idea. And with parenting, I want to make a little pause. Because there's a great book that I always recommend. It's called Crucial Conversations. Write that down. Read that book. Because this is not only about getting on stage, guys. Getting on stage, some people are going to have that goal, some people are not. And it's not even only about selling or getting more clients and getting more customers. That's a byproduct. But in your life every day, you're going to need to have crucial conversations. And you've got to nail those, guys. You have to nail those. When you're having a conversation with your son who's getting bullied at school, or your daughter who you just found out is 16 and sexually active, or you're going through a divorce, or infidel. I mean, this is a whole nother ballpark. But you're going to have these conversations. You may have had them recently. I need you to nail those. I need you to nail that conversation with your daughter. You got to nail it. Because if you don't, decisions are made. And so this is not just about being cool and fancy on TEDx. This is about real life communication with your spouse, with your partner, with your kids. So I know this just got super serious really fast. But that is the importance of this. That's what I try to teach. I can teach you how to get on TEDx. I can show you how to craft an 18-minute message. Great. That's awesome. But if we can get this, then you'll be able to nail those real life conversations so that your life can be better. Your life will be better if you can communicate better. Who here often finds themselves in this situation? You say something to somebody, and they understood something completely different.
Yeah.
And you're like, how did you get to that? What the heck? Not even close. When that happens, we usually blame who? The other person. That's not what I said. Were you not listening? Who honestly, here, safe space. Who finds themselves in that situation quite often?
Marriage,
Hashtag marriage. Okay.
Often enough.
Often enough to where it starts to raise some red flags. I'm gonna burst your bubble. It's not the other person, it's you. It's you.
For me, it's always my tone. It's always my tone, and it's always my rate of speech. I'm like talking fast, cutting them off, and my tone is curt.
Yep.
And a lot of times it has nothing to do with them. It's more like,
Something else.
yeah.
So it's you. I'm sorry to tell you guys, it's you. You're the problem in that situation. Why? Because you have thoughts and ideas that you want to convey. When I convey the thought and idea, it's all twisted. And it doesn't land the way that it's supposed to. And so that is what we need to learn how to do. So if you're constantly misunderstood, it's because you are not a good communicator. You need to learn how to do that. And a lot of it can be some of these things. You raise your voice, you lose them. They're not listening to you anymore, bro. Keep your composure. Learn how to speak. Learn when to slow it down. What makes the other person tick? Who here ever played high school sports? You know those coaches that like yell in your face? Like, let's go, let's go! Who likes that? Who responds to that? Let's go, Rolando, one more rep! You guys respond to that? Who likes that? No, nobody likes that. He thinks he's a good coach, though. Does that make sense? Was that your coach? Who had a coach like that? It doesn't land, guys.
I was a swimmer, so I didn't have to hear anybody.
She just got it. So volume. So we got two examples of this.
everybody's having flashbacks now. Oh my god. I felt like that was working with that kid.
Yep. So here we go. We got 2 examples of this. I want you to hear this voice.
In order to be what we are, we have to come out of what we are not. Now, here you and I are sitting in a body. Now, in a few years, this body will die, go back to dust. Am I the body? Is this what I am? I live in it. If I raise my hand, I raise my hand, but am I the body?
Now I want to know.
Thoughts?
I don't know. I don't know.
2.
Volume. That was on what volume level?
You're listening to this, right? We just got 30 seconds. What are some thoughts? What's going through your mind as you're listening to this? Right, what? Who find it draws you in? Who sees it as a positive?
It depends on the situation.
In this situation. As you're listening to him?
Well, you got my attention.
Okay. Who finds it soothing? Who's going to sleep a little bit? Okay.
I have real quick,
Yes.
my mother-in-law, she teaches first graders. She is the quietest little mouse that I've ever met. Like, she's hard to hear. And I asked her, I was like, how do you manage first graders? And she said, they tried to give me a microphone. I refused it. Because if I speak to these first graders in my quiet voice, they all quiet down because they think I have something important
Yeah.
to say.
Which is great. That's a great point.
6-year-olds.
Because yes, well, 6-year-olds and adults.
Yeah, right?
We
You
kicked
slow
my
it down?
sister-in-law off the, she can't be the
And
skipper
you do
of
it,
the curling
okay?
team anymore because
So-
she can't hear. She's like,
Yeah. Who is not a fan of this communication style in general? Who kind of feels like it might put you to sleep a little bit, not very engaging? If you had a choice, you probably wouldn't do it. Okay? All right, that's example number 1.
So many people in this world are fighting many battles that are tough, that are not forgiving, that makes them feel hopelessness. How dare you?
Thoughts?
how dare you?
You like that? Rah rah? No? Is there anybody who's not a fan of this stuff? No? No? Not feeling it? Not really feeling it? Doesn't do much for you? Who loves it? So this is the important part, guys. Your clients, your family members, your friends, they're going to react to different things. You need to know that to know how to speak to someone. I have clients that I know if I get excited, they get excited. And others, if I get all excited, they get nervous. So also part of this is just having a little bit of that self-awareness that if you speak the same way all the time to everybody forever, you're going to miss out on a lot of opportunities. You just are. Because you have your default. Your default could be just normal, monotone. This is how I talk to everybody all the time. And we're talking about going out and buying homes and getting pre-approved. For some, they're going to be like, I love that. And others are going to be like, I have no idea what to talk about. Okay? All right, let's go to number 3. Pause. This is a hard one. Right? Someone here pausing? Choose your pauses. We've all seen that speech where all of a sudden it's going really well, and then the speaker stops, starts to get emotional. You know that's all fabricated, right? Why? Because there are certain moments in time where if you stop, it's powerful. Stop. Anybody here know who Sean Whalen is? So Sean Whalen is a guy from here in Utah, and he gave a speech. Actually, he didn't give a speech. He was invited to speak, and he got up there, and he was quiet. It's the oddest thing. Silence. Just look at people. Because when you do that, something starts to happen. Anticipation, we're thinking about what is happening. But before we can get to the pause, we got to slow down. Don't be afraid of the pause. It's okay. That allows people to think, process, and then give a response. So don't be afraid of the pause. Who here, when you're having a conversation and it starts to get quiet, you just normally get anxious, you get nervous. You try to fill the noise. You fill it with something. Resist that temptation. Just let it sit for a second. I know it's 1 to 2 seconds. It feels like an eternity, but you'll be okay. So in your day-to-day, practice that. Your next phone call, your next showing, your next appointment, whatever it is, practice the pause. Ask people a question. Pause. I'm flabbergasted by the amount of time that somebody will ask me a question and then answer it for me. It's just like, I know. They ask me a question, and then if I don't answer in the first millisecond, they answer for me.
I do that with my daughter.
Yeah.
What's your question? I'll answer probably.
You answer it. Like, what do you think of this house? It's great, right? What do you think of your payment? It's not that bad. It'll get better. You can always refinance later. Right?
I don't think anybody asks, what do you think of your payment?
You don't even give them a chance to respond.
Just do you know your
You
payment?
ask the question, and then you answer it with what you think the answer should be. Resist that temptation. Yes.
I was going to say Elon Musk is really good at pausing. If you take a look at his talks or interviews, every time someone asks him, and those are very kind of like, Elon Musk gets all kind of questions. So he pauses, and then he actually thinks about what's he's saying, and then he'll talk about it. And he can be with someone who's very aggressive, asking him questions, and then he'll just take his time and then answer it. I find that's a very nice skill.
It's powerful. It's incredibly powerful if you can master the pause. And it's all about being comfortable in your own skin, being comfortable in your subject matter, knowing that you have value to give, and being patient in delivering the value. Being patient in delivering the value. Okay? Any questions on these 3 things? Rate of speech, volume, and pause? Yes.
Do you feel that it's most people's discomfort with pause that is maybe one of the reasons people will use so many filler words because they're trying to fill the pause with sound?
Yes. 100%. And that's the next thing. She nailed it. Filler words.
Oh, there you go.
Filler words. Everybody has filler words. What I want to do today is identify what your filler words are. Some of you might already know what your filler word is. Who are my like people? Who are my likes? Like, it's like, I don't know, Patty. It's like the house, it's like, it's good, but it's like, I don't know, like. Who are my right people? My rights, right? We're going to go over here, right? We're going to go to the next house, right? We like this, right? Right? Yeah, right? Who are my ums? Who are my, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? 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 You absolutely know what I mean. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Filler words. I'm going to show you an example, 2 examples of filler words, because as you're talking, you often do not realize how you're talking. So the idea with this exercise is think of your filler word. What is your favorite? What is your go-to? And you got to cut that crap out. And I'll show you how to do that. Here we go. Who knows the story of Caroline Kennedy? So Caroline Kennedy is from the Kennedys, JFK. So she ran for office in New York. And she went on all these interviews. And she was so destroyed by the media. To this day, she is the brunt of every public speaking course in the world. Really? To this day. They make fun of her. They use her as an example, and she is the example of filler words, ineffective speech, bad communication in a professional setting. Let me show you why.
She's also Sweet Caroline, the Neil Diamond song.
Yes. check this out.
I am a proud Democrat. Those are the values, middle class tax relief, helping working families, fixing the healthcare system. So, those are the issues that I, would expect. I am a Democrat. That is, I'm trying to become a Democratic senator. So I don't, there are issues along the way. But I'm sure that, people have differences of opinion. I support gay marriage. I support, I've problems with, NAFTA.
I love the NAFTA at the end, right? She's like, NAFTA. How does this make you feel?
So embarrassing.
Okay. What is the perception that you have of her?
What the hell was she on?
She wasn't prepared.
Wasn't prepared. Wasn't focused.
She's trying. She used the word trying.
She's just
She's trying. Do we feel like she's an expert? We don't feel like she's an expert. Does she make us feel safe? This is someone that's running for office, right? You don't. You just don't. Who knows somebody that talks like this? It might not be that extreme. Jeez, I can speak. It might not be that extreme, but who knows who's had a conversation with someone that talks like this?
I had a buyer's agent. I had her wear a rubber band on her wrist every time she said,
Let's look at, This is a problem. This is a huge problem. Because when we're speaking with clients, vendors, affiliates, buyers, sellers, if we do this, you're going to lose them. You lose them. They're gone. Filler words are a big, big problem. Here's one more example for you.
But there's been so much
We'll
life
get there.
that's hit you over the last couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Couple weeks, few weeks, months, year. Sweeter out. Very soon.
Life's too short. And just, life's too short. Be grateful and be happy and follow happy impulses, and the rest will sort itself out.
But how does that change how you live your life every day?
I don't know. I just I feel very open and honest and chill, and I feel like myself again. I feel like for a while I was not so much.
I understand.
Yeah, but now it's good. My mom cries when we FaceTime because I'm so happy and okay.
She's had enough.
I'm out.
I wish we got that video.
Similar situation, huh? I love that. Thank you. Again, how does that make us feel? So say that again. Do you know what she's talking about? You don't. Now, this is only 20 seconds. You have no idea what she's talking about. Something happened. Something like.
It's hard to keep a straight face and really focus and listen to me.
Yes. It's extremely difficult. How many of you feel like maybe not to this level, but you kind of do this a little bit?
Oh, yeah.
Please don't. Right? And so how do you avoid it? Here's the thing. How do you avoid it? Number one, understand what your filler word is. You got to know what it is. And it might not just be one. It could be multiple. What is it? And number two, as you're having conversations, be mindful of that word. And have the people in your circle keep you accountable. Ask your peers, hey, if I start saying like a lot, I'm on this public speaking kick right now. Let me know. You got to be mindful of it. Catch yourself. And this is why, here's my big recommendation. If you want to be a better public speaker, start a podcast. Tomorrow. Start a podcast. The intention is not to become Joe Rogan. It's not even to get clients. Even though that would be pretty cool. But when you podcast and you listen to your show, you will learn so much about yourself. Who here hates listening to themselves speak? You guys had that opportunity? That is almost everybody. Statistic, 90% of people hate listening to themselves. But because they never listen to themselves, they never learn about how they communicate. If you don't like listening to yourself, why would anybody else?
Does anybody else erase like a voicemail they leave for someone like 4 or 5 times? Like sometimes I'm like, okay, last time.
Yes.
Like, what are you talking about?
And so that's the exercise. It's very hard to get ourselves into these exercises where we can improve. Podcasting is the best way. It doesn't even have to be about real estate. Podcast about something you enjoy. Podcast about sports or art or pottery or history or whatever it is, but podcast. If you don't want to even release it, don't release it, but record it and listen to it. You need to study yourself. That's the only way this is going to get better, because that will allow you to learn what your patterns are. It's all habit. It's all just habit. And you can change your habits, but you have to be mindful of what they are. So that's a big recommendation. Start a podcast or whatever, however it is, but you need to speak and you need to hear yourself speak. Okay? Any questions on that? Yes, go ahead.
I did not very many, 4, maybe 6, not more than that, Toastmasters. I don't know if anybody's been to Toastmasters. And I was stunned at how many times I would say so, right, because when you go to Toastmasters, they've got multiple people. They've usually got 3 people who are assigned in the crowd. They've got a list of words, and every time you use it, they make a hash mark, and they're keeping track of every single time, and then they report back to you at the end of the talk. I was totally unaware that I was even doing it, and I just racked up huge numbers on a few of them. So and right were a couple of my big ones.
Yes.
And it was a unwillingness to simply pause and collect my thoughts before moving to the next sentence, that I would stick filler words in there unconsciously. And it took somebody pointing it out for me to catch it.
Somebody has to point it out. I love that. Thank you. And that's what it takes. And the most common example of this in our day-to-day is somebody asks you a question, and instead of thinking about the answer, you start talking. Say, well, I mean, so like, it could be, or whatever. If somebody asks you, hey, is this a good house? Well, I mean, like, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
I have a question about that.
Instead of, hey, do you think this is a good house? I think it's a great house. I think it fits in your budget. Kind of what you're looking for. You said you needed 4 bedrooms. We've got that. The yard. I think it's a great fit for you. Feel the difference? Instead of, yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I mean, you said, right? I mean, you wanted like 4 rooms, right? Like, I mean, you found it. It's good. Yes.
Is it recommended or a bad practice to kind of repeat what they said as a filler?
Mirroring can work. Mirroring is, if you don't know what mirroring is, it's exactly that. So if I say, hey, Belladonna, how many bedrooms do you need?
4 bedrooms.
You need 4 bedrooms. Right. So pausing, mirroring, trying to get more information. So yeah, mirroring can work. Mirroring is actually an interrogation technique. It's an interrogation? It's an interrogation technique. Yes, see? There it is. See? Because what did he just do? Then I respond back. Yep. So mirroring can work. So your filler words. Here's what I want you to do. This is not a 4-week course like we did last time.
Although it could be.
It could be if you guys wanted to.
This one, it could be, so we'll take a vote at the end.
We'll take a vote. So at the end, I'm going to give you an assignment. But the next one is hand movement. Another big one.
Don't use your middle fingers.
I'm about to blow your mind right now. Here we go. I'm going to give you a couple of examples. And again, the thing is, what is yours? What do you do? What are your tendencies?
This is mine. Right here.
Right here.
I have so many pictures of this.
Yep. So here we go. First one. First one is the prayer. How are you doing today? You doing good? You good? Good? You all right? Yeah? That's good. Good. How does this make you feel? Right? I come at you like this. Okay. Let's hear these. Let's hear these. What did you say?
It's like you need something.
I need something? Pretty please. Who knows somebody that has this tendency? Who here has this tendency? No? We got no religious people in the room? Okay, that's all right. Here is one. Okay. Next one, the triangle.
Yes, I know. Colin.
Who does this?
Colin does that.
Does what?
The triangle.
Does he?
He does the triangle.
Triangle. Seen those like GQ photos? Like this? Triangle. We know anybody who does the triangle?
Yeah, I do.
There's closed triangle and there's open triangle. How does this feel? Like this? Like this? We're sitting. People do this. How does this make you feel? I come at you like this. Is it distracting a little bit?
It's presumptuous.
A little bit distracting?
It's like,
It's almost like daggers coming at you. Like, break.
Okay.
well, it's like you're trying to put on airs.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
And then
It makes me look at your watch.
okay. Okay. Does this inspire confidence? Does it inspire trust? What if I start banging the cymbals? You guys seen this one before?
Yeah.
You guys seen this before?
I do that in meditation.
Anxious? It would make you anxious when I'm talking to you like this?
Do you need to go party?
Okay. Anybody have this tendency? No? Nothing in here? Okay. Next one is the flapper.
What's the flapper?
What's up, guys? How are you? Yes. Hey. What's up, guys? You guys know any flappers? Are you guys a flapper? No? You guys seen a flapper? They just all the time, hey, how's it going, buddy? Hey, how are you?
Well, then what's the flipper?
Is this distracting? Hey guys, we're here to talk about TEDx. Thank you guys so much for being here. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you guys. Thank you, Belladonna. I appreciate you guys being here. And they just go on and on. And they're slapping stuff. Okay? Distractions. So again, these things distract from your message. The punchline is don't take points off the board. Anything that you do that distracts from your message, you got to cut it out. You got to cut it out. So this is our flapper, right? The flipper. This guy.
Yeah, what's the flipper?
Flipper.
Oh, that's the flipper.
Right here, small. Right here. You guys see this? Right? Yeah. Good. Yeah. All right. Good. Very good. Right here, close, tight. Everything is right here. Guys, we're doing this. All right. Have we seen this? Right, the flipper. Anybody here a flipper? No? Okay, we're going to get to yours. Don't worry about it.
It's trying to give you the lowdown, like, no.
Right here on the low. But again, a lot of people do this just naturally. So we need to find out what your natural, see what I'm doing right now? What are your natural tendencies? What do you do? Ask your sphere, ask your peers. What do you do? Because also, very rarely do we see ourselves on camera. So that's the hard part with speakers. And even speakers that have been recorded before, that have been on stage, they sometimes don't know what their tendencies are. And they get on stage and they start doing stuff like this, and it's wildly distracting. The next one, these are two big ones. First one is called the placator. The placator is if I come in, I'm introducing myself, palms are out. Palms are up, palms are out, open. What does this movement inspire?
Inclusion.
Trust. Got nothing to hide. Right? Right here. How's it going, guys? Thank you so much for being here today. I'm so excited. Can't wait to share what we've got. Versus the other one, which is the leveler, which is this. Hi, guys. How are we doing? You doing good? I'm so excited. So if I'm sitting here and for example, if I'm going to open it up for Q&A, if I say, guys, I'm going to open it up for Q&A. If anybody has any questions, I'm open. I'd love to hear and answer all of your questions. That's one. Or if I say, guys, we're going to open it up for Q&A. So, have any questions? You feel the difference? That's it. That's all I did. You guys have any questions? We're going to be here. So in that context, we're trying to inspire questions. We're trying to inspire engagement. Be open, yes.
The one place I see that gesture all the time are comedians when they come on stage and the crowd is cheering, and they need them to like shut up so they can start their act.
Yeah.
They'll do this, often without saying anything, and the whole crowd will just get quiet because they know what that means.
Because they're universal symbols. So we know, going like this, silence, calm down. Right? The problem is when we get these mixed up. When you get them mixed up, yes. Yes. You guys got any questions? Versus, do you have any questions? Feel that difference? It's subtle, guys. It's so small. But it makes all the difference in how the message lands. Who are my placaters? Who? Yeah? Yeah? A little bit? Who am I? Spare fingers?
I'm like all over there.
Who are my levelers? Who finds themselves doing this? I don't know. Yeah? A little bit? Okay. The next one is the pointer. Pointer is an interesting one because there are different ways to point. This?
Not okay.
No? Not okay? How does that make you feel? Why no? Why no?
I don't know. I just feel like I wanted to break it.
Seems like that, you feel like you're asking you specifically for something.
Aggressive? What else?
You want that of me.
You, over there in the green. Right? You. Celeste, I asked you a question. What starts to happen in your body? You said you'd be here on time. Versus, hey, over there. Over there. Over there. Yeah?
Yeah, this is personal, this is open. Accusatory.
You doing okay? You doing all right? Yeah? You good? Are you doing okay?
You want to say something?
Same words, guys. Same words. This versus this. Now, who feels the one finger is a little bit intense? Yeah, one finger or not? What about this? You.
That's what they do in the military.
Maybe a little.
Politicians do this a lot. Right? So we got this, you, this, you guys, this. Each one speaks completely different. Completely different. So what do? Are you a pointer? This. What are your tendencies? Some of you are walking around pointing at clients. What are you doing? You, bro. All right. So placator versus pointer. Okay. So sometimes if you want to make emphasis, it can be this. Open, instead of this. This cuts people off. This intimidates. This creates anxiety.
Which one cuts people off?
This one. You. Who's you? Okay? So be mindful of that, guys. Be mindful of what you're doing because you can have the best intentions, but if you don't get these things under control, you're making people feel some type of way and they're not going to like it. So you have to tailor it to the situation. And now I just cursed you because you're going to notice this all day long from everybody.
It's going to be a fun scavenger hunt.
Right? One more. 2 more. My snappers.
Oh,
Who knows somebody that does this? They're always making some kind of noise. Your husband? Your husband? Okay. Yeah, so you're meeting someone. This happens a lot at networking events. So networking events, you're going up to meet somebody new. Hey, what's your name? Oh, okay. Who are you with? You guys see that? And the last one is my swingers. Okay. Who are my swingers? Oh, yeah.
She's like, don't swing her.
All my adults in the room are like, does he know? My swingers, right? You guys have seen this. You guys have seen this.
That's probably what I did. That's probably me.
Yeah? This one's very common. Right? We like to swing our hands. Who here consciously knows that they're a swinger.
But not that.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying this. I'm saying this.
Just to be clear.
This right here.
But I still have my keys.
Right?
We don't want any misunderstanding.
All right, so this is very common.
Start getting some random calls.
It's distracting. It's distracting, okay? And so here's the assignment, guys. The assignment is we're just about wrapping up. What I would like you to do is grab your phone. You're going to record yourself for 5 minutes, okay? You're going to talk about whatever you want to talk about. Doesn't have to be real estate. You can talk about your favorite story. Talk about whether it's your honeymoon, talk about your favorite trip, talk about a high school memory, talk about your, whatever, anything that you could speak on for 5 minutes. And here's what you're going to do. It's a 3-part analysis. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to turn it up all the way and you're going to put it upside down. You're going to listen. Okay? That's number one. You're just going to hear it. You might be a little bit terrified. That's okay. You're going to listen to it. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to turn the volume all the way down and you're going to watch it. You're going to watch yourself. What you're doing. Okay. And the third one, the extra credit, is you're going to go on Fiverr. You're going to get it transcribed with filler words included. And then you're going to read the transcript of your video. What you will learn in those 3 simple exercises will blow your mind. Okay? And the last thing that I want to touch on is when we talk about hand movements, a lot of us fidget with ourselves all the time. Okay? The hair, the clothes, right here. Okay? If you do this, and then you go shake people's hand, I'm going to wash my hands after. This happens so much, right? We're here, we're having conversations. So if you're in your office, guys, we do this a lot. What do? Stroking the beard, playing over here, your ear when you're listening to someone, playing with your clothes all the time. Do you feel like I'm paying attention to you? No? A little bit? Okay. Now, I give extreme examples, but we could do this in a very subtle way. Who here are my hair player withers?
Oh, God.
Right?
Be bad. But I had an agent who, the whole time he was talking to you, he would rip out hairs and throw them. Who was that? I'm not saying.
These are so hard to maintain, guys. I'm telling you right now. It's so hard.
You have to shave. You have to shave because he couldn't stop.
Yep.
And I'm like, it's killing me, man. It's freaking me out. You gotta shave. Because I know you're doing it in front of clients.
But it's unconscious. That's the point. It's totally unconscious.
He shaved, but
And he kept doing it. He's like, okay. Yeah, and it can be simple stuff.
I screw with my hair constantly,
Yes.
partly because it's like in my face.
Yep.
But it's a nervous habit.
It's a nervous thing. Now, some things that you can do, basic things, very simple. For example, wear lotion.
Lotion?
It seems like a dumb thing, but if your face is itchy, fix it. If you have facial hair and it's itchy, fix it. If you have acne, not that that's a bad thing. I had acne growing up. Fix it. Do not be scratching at stuff. Don't do it, guys. So those small things, right? It's like, that's so gross. It's like, that's so gross. So small things, what was that? Yep. Yep. Exactly. So the punchline is we've all got these. And in 1 hour, it's really hard to go as far in depth to be able to identify what those are. My only objective today is to create a little bit of self-awareness. That's it. If I can do that, I have succeeded in these 55 minutes that we've been together. Self-awareness. What do you do? Why do you do it? Is it distracting? How do you change it? So in speaking, they often say to use the Coke can if you don't know what you do with your hands. If you don't know what you do with your hands, it's as if you had a bottle. You're just here. Just here. Just here. I have a bottle. It's less distracting. My hands are busy. I got something. Drink.
Is that why some comedians always have
Yes. Yes. It's all fabricated. Comedians that are not good with their hands will drink on stage. Why will they drink on stage? It's not because they're trying to get tipsy on you, because often it's just water. It's to control their hands. That's why they do it. Yes. Yes. Especially newer comedians. Always have a drink in their hands because this gives me something to do. It's not as distracting. This is much less distracting than this. Okay. All right, guys. Any questions? We'll leave the last couple of minutes for questions, and then we'll wrap up and get you guys on your way. Any questions? Any questions? Thoughts?
Take your questions now.
Any questions? Yes. Yes, so Fiverr. Yep, so Fiverr, it's you can hire freelancers. So you'll go on there. It costs you $5. It costs you $5. Don't pay any more than $5.
And actually, Otter, OTTER.io, Otter.io, and if you Google it, if I've got the domain wrong, I believe they do transcription for free.
Okay, yeah. If you find something, great. Otter.
Otter, OTTER.io. I believe, I'm going from memory, I think that's the correct domain, but if you even just Google it, it'll come up. And I believe they'll do your transcription for free, as long as they give you so many free minutes.
Yeah. So if you find something free, great. If not, go on Fiverr. I wouldn't, Fiverr. Fiverr.com. Don't pay more than $5. If you're paying more than $5, you're getting scammed. You're getting scammed. And so, but there will often be an option to remove the filler words. Don't do that. Leave the filler words in and then read it. You'll learn so much, I promise. There's again, volume up on the table, volume down, you're watching, and then you're reading. 5 minutes. Okay. Anything else? No? All right, so just last of all, we got TEDx TV Drive. So our first event is on Thursday, March 23rd in Provo from 6 to 9 p.m. The idea is to create a strong TEDx chapter. So we're going to have events in March, in July, and in November. So anybody here honestly have aspirations to be a speaker? Would like to be a speaker at some level? Okay. So if you have that in mind, even just cooking a little bit, I highly recommend you go to these events. Because you'll sit, you'll listen. Now you're going to pick up on all this stuff. So you can keep my speakers honest. Because I make them practice.
I'm speaking on the 25th.
Yeah? You're speaking too?
20 minutes.
I love it. I love it. And so here are tickets, guys. If you want to come, awesome. I'd love to see you there. Thank you so much. I know it's very short. We got to kind of condense everything. But I hope that you can leave today with a little bit more self-awareness. Watch out for those things. Be a clearer communicator, more effective communicator. And in that way, we can create more trust. We can have more clients. We can build rapport. And at the end of the day, do what we're all here to do, which is ultimately make more money. All right? Thank you, Bella.
Thank you. Okay, so let me ask, who here got great value out of today? Awesome value. Who here was actually entertained and got great value out of today? That doesn't actually happen together very often. Who here would be willing, because everybody is obvious, and if you're not on the invite list, if you got invited via some other way than an email with an Eventbrite link, just get with me and I will make sure you're on the master list. Who here would come back if we could sweet talk Tony and do 3 more of these? Yeah?
We'll have to do it.
Because this is actually 4 parts.
It is a 4-part series, yes.
It's a 4-part series, and everybody here got part 1. But I promise you.
I promise you.
That you. Well, this way, no.
Yeah.
Just put it like this.
See? I just ruined all of you. I just ruined everyone.
Go to the office and sit quietly in the
She's
chair
just
and
really-
wait.
And I actually just proved that I can't do math, because since it's a 4-part series and he's already done part 1.
I guess you have only
3 more.
So,
A shot.
filler words. You guys game? Yeah. Woo! Okay, right on.
Thank you.
Let it questions for Tony now that maybe something came up, something, you're thinking about it for a second? Yes?
Maybe for you, are you going to,
What was that?
Couldn't hear.
Oh, it's all right here. Yep. You can just. Yeah, no, you're far away. That's all right. Yeah, you can come up here, QR code, you can scan it.
Yeah, I will send this out in a follow-up email from the event. I'll send a QR code for the invite. And then, as promised, you guys, it is short and sweet. 9 minutes. 9-minute little explainer on who we are and what we do. It's actually not even my explainer video. It's just a quick little one. So we're going to get that